I wrote an essay about the proof of the resurrection of Jesus. I will be reading it from docs off my computer, so if I'm looking over here like this, then that's why. There's over 4,200 different religions in the world. Wait. But there's only one empty grave. Whether you believe in Jesus or not, it is historically sound that he was a real person. Even the scholars who aim towards disproving Christianity admit that he did in fact exist. The argument non-believers typically make is that he wasn't who he claimed to be, the embodiment of God. The reason the resurrection is so important is because if it happened, then that means Jesus is who he says he was, and we all have something to look forward to after this life on earth. Now that we understand the importance of the resurrection, let's discuss the evidence and documentation that generationally shifted the world as we know it today. And just a little evidence there, there's over 2.64 billion claimed Christians. So a fake story to, create that big of a spark is pretty crazy. Jesus is believed to have walked the earth for one singular life-changing purpose, and that is to die the death we all deserve for us. This brings us to our first point of evidence leading to the resurrection, and that is the Roman crucifixion Jesus endured. There is no other documented death throughout history as gruesome as the death of Christ. And yes, I said documented. The death of Jesus is debated a lot less due to the eyewitnesses and the historically documented evidence, as well as the likelihood of his death in the time period, especially for claiming what he claimed. Jesus took 39, the legal maximum was 40 lashings, and they only did 39 so he could, make it up the hill and be able to walk and not die there. And so he would actually end up dying on the cross. And so he took 39 lashings from Roman soldiers using a whip called the flagrum. This whip had multiple leather thongs embedded with bone or metal, and the soldiers twisted a crown of thorns and pushed him to the top of Jesus' head to mock him. He was mocked, spit on, and beat until his gender was unrecognizable from his injuries. He had to carry a cross miles up a hill to be hung, and he was attached to the cross using nails the size of railroad spikes, driven into the nerves in his wrist and his feet. He hung on the cross for approximately 6 hours and was impaled with a spear into his side, where both water and blood flowed out to confirm his death. All of these details eliminate any argument that he survived his death, leading to the conclusion that seeing, feeling, or talking to Jesus after his death could only be possible because of a non-logical miracle. Now, what if I told you that's exactly what happens? Because over 500 eyewitness testimonies claim to have seen, felt, or talked to Jesus after his death. Because of the knowledge of the crucifixion, the only counter-argument claimed is that these witnesses are simply fake, and it's all some made-up story. However, this argument also does not stand for a few reasons. Number one being that many of the historical eyewitness documentations were made by women. During the time period, if you were to fake a story, you would absolutely never use women. In both Jewish and Greco-Roman cultures at the time, women were generally not considered a reliable source. Men's testimonies were trusted much more and generally had the power over any opposing claim of a female. So if you're going to fake something, especially being as serious as this was, you would never use a female witness. But sure, let's say a group of people were really dedicated to faking a story and they somehow guessed that things would change in the future and women's testimonies would make their story more believable. What if I told you that Jesus was not the only person that died because he thought that he was the Son of God? Peter, James, Andrew, Philip, Matthew, Simon, and the list goes on, all dying for the beliefs that Jesus was in fact God. But they did not just die of age like, oh, I'm about to die, and by the way, I still believe that Jesus is God and all this. No, they all chose to die a gruesome death to honor the Lord. I don't know a single person on this earth that would choose to die for a fake story, let alone over 12. But it doesn't stop there. Let's talk about their deaths. Peter was crucified upside down in Rome for refusing to deny Jesus. He chose to be hung upside down because he felt unworthy of dying the same way Christ did. Andrew was crucified on an X-shaped cross in Greece for preaching Christianity despite Romans' opposition. And James was beheaded by a sword for his strong leadership of Christians around 44 AD. So the way that I see it is the truth is always there. You just have to look for it. And if no one is able to disprove Christianity, there has to be a reason. And I just listed many. Remember not to follow the world and to always follow Christ.